Understanding the silent language of male attraction. The landscape of male romance is often defined not by grand, cinematic confessions, but by a quiet, intricate web of behavioral cues. For generations, relationship psychology has noted a distinct evolutionary and cultural divergence in how genders communicate affection. While women are frequently encouraged to be verbally expressive and emotionally transparent about their feelings, men are traditionally conditioned to adopt a more guarded, stoic exterior. This emotional socialization often creates a frustrating communication gap, leaving many women wondering exactly where they stand. However, a man's silence should never be confused with indifference. In reality, when a man is falling deeply in love, his internal emotional shifts are incredibly intense. He simply translates those feelings into a physical and behavioral vocabulary rather than a verbal one. To decode a man's hidden affection, one must look past his words and focus entirely on his actions, micro-expressions, and physiological shifts. When a man harbors secret feelings, his nervous system effectively betrays his calm demeanor. The brain releases a powerful chemical cocktail of dopamine, oxytocin, and cortisol, which manifests externally as subtle, uncontrollable changes in his body language. He might instinctively position himself as a barrier between you and potential hazards, unconsciously mirror your exact physical movements, or experience a genuine spike of nervous energy whenever you walk into the room. These reactions are deeply rooted in human biology and evolutionary survival instincts, making them entirely authentic and nearly impossible to fake. He is essentially communicating his devotion through a continuous stream of nonverbal signals, operating under the subconscious belief that protecting, assisting, and grounding you is the ultimate testament of his love. Understanding this silent dialect is the key to unlocking the true state of his heart. It requires shifting your focus away from what he is hesitant to say, and instead observing how he behaves when he believes no one is paying close attention. It is found in the lingering duration of a casual hug, the hyper-focused memory that recalls your smallest preferences, and the effortless way he integrates your presence into his long-term future. By learning to identify these 15 hidden signs, you effectively bridge the communication gap, gaining the clarity needed to read between the lines of his stoic facade. When you know exactly what cues to look for, you will realize that his love was never truly hidden at all. It was simply written in a language that speaks much louder than words. The protective scan. This behavior is rooted deep in evolutionary psychology, where a man instinctively steps into the role of a guardian for someone he deeply cares about. When you walk down a busy city street, you will notice him smoothly shifting sides to position himself between you and the oncoming traffic. In crowded or chaotic environments, his eyes constantly scan the room, monitoring potential disruptions or hazards before they even get close to you. This is not about being overly possessive or controlling. Rather, it is a silent, subconscious manifestation of his desire to ensure your absolute safety. He might gently guide you by the elbow through a dense crowd or place, a reassuring hand on your shoulder to navigate obstacles. Because men are often conditioned to express their deepest emotions through actions rather than words, this vigilant physical positioning serves as a powerful, non-verbal declaration of his protective love. Active micro-listening. While casual acquaintances might nod along to your stories, a man who secretly loves you engages in a rare level of cognitive focus known as active micro-listening. He does not just hear the words you say. His brain actively catalogues the tiniest, seemingly insignificant details of your life. Weeks after a passing conversation, he will surprise you by bringing up the exact name of your childhood pet, your specific coffee order, or a random book you mentioned wanting to read. This happens because your voice triggers a heightened state of alertness in his mind, making everything you communicate valuable data to him. He uses this stored information to anticipate your needs, buy thoughtful gifts, or simply validate your feelings during future conversations. When a man remembers the small nuances that most people instantly forget, it proves that you possess his full, undivided attention and his quiet devotion. The unconscious mirror. When a man is emotionally attuned to you, his nervous system begins to sync up with yours through a psychological phenomenon known as behavioral mirroring. Without even realizing it, he will match his body language to yours during your interactions. If you lean back in your chair and cross your legs, he will likely do the same moments later. If you take a sip of your drink or gesture enthusiastically with your hands, his movements will naturally echo your rhythm. This subconscious imitation is driven by mirror neurons in the brain, which fire to build rapport, comfort, and deep mutual understanding. It is nature's way of saying, I am totally in step with you and sharing this exact moment. By copying your posture, vocal tone, or facial expressions, he is silently signaling that he feels completely comfortable around you and wants to build a profound emotional bridge, dilated pupils and prolonged eye contact. The eyes genuinely serve as a window to a man's hidden feelings, because involuntary physiological reactions are impossible to fake. The moment you enter a room or look directly at him, his pupils will instantly dilate, a biological response triggered by a surge of dopamine and oxytocin. When looking at someone attractive, beyond this physical tell, you will notice him holding your gaze for just a few seconds longer than normal social etiquette dictates. His eyes will linger on your face, tracking your expressions and locking onto yours across a crowded room. This prolonged eye contact is his subconscious attempt to establish an intimate, exclusive connection with you, filtering out all external distractions. Even if he is too shy to speak up or confess his feelings out loud, his intense, focused gaze and dilated eyes completely betray his internal excitement, revealing exactly how captivated he is by your presence. The leaning in reflex. In any social setting filled with ambient noise and competing distractions, a man's physical orientation reveals his true priorities. When he is secretly in love, his body will consistently execute a subtle leaning in reflex whenever you speak. Even if you are sitting across a wide table or standing in a loud, chaotic room, he will tilt his head, square his shoulders, and bend his torso directly toward you. This movement is a clear physical manifestation of his desire to close the distance between you and eliminate any barriers to intimacy. He subverts his own personal space boundaries because his instincts are pulling him closer to your world. By centering his entire physical form around you, he is blocking out the surrounding environment to ensure he catches every syllable you speak. This persistent forward-leaning posture is an undeniable, organic sign that he is completely magnetized by you. Fixing and tuning. This behavior is driven by what psychologists often call the hero instinct, where a man expresses his devotion by solving practical problems in your life. Instead of offering grand romantic speeches, he looks for tangible ways to make your day run smoother. If you mention that your car is making a strange noise, your kitchen cabinet is loose, or a software app on your phone is glitching, he will instantly volunteer to fix it, or simply do it quietly without being asked. To him, acts of service are the highest form of emotional currency. By tuning up your environment and removing daily friction, he is physically demonstrating that he is reliable, resourceful, and deeply invested in your well-being. He wants to be the person you turn to when things break down, using his time and energy to build a secure, comfortable world around you as a silent testament of love. The lingering touch. Physical touch is a powerful accelerator for emotional bonding, and a man who secretly loves you will constantly look for subtle, socially appropriate ways to establish contact. This is not about overt physical advances. Instead, it manifests as innocent, prolonged moments of connection. You will notice his hand staying on your lower back a second longer as he guides you through a doorway, or his fingers gently brushing against yours when handing you an object. When you hug goodbye, the embrace feels firm, warm, and noticeably extended. These fleeting moments occur because his body naturally craves proximity to yours, and his brain releases a rush of oxytocin every time your skin meets. By allowing these touches to linger just past the boundaries of platonic friendship, he's testing your comfort levels and signaling a deep, magnetic attraction that he might still be too hesitant to put into words. Anxious body language. When a man harbors deep feelings for you, your presence will inevitably trigger a spike of adrenaline and nervous excitement within his system, because he cares intensely about the impression he is making. His body will betray his calm exterior through subtle, anxious tells. When you first arrive or walk into his field of vision, you might notice him suddenly adjusting his clothing, smoothing down his hair, or clearing his throat. He might fidget with his phone, tap his glass, or shift his weight from side to side while speaking to you. These micro-behaviors are clear signs of emotional vulnerability. He is highly invested in how you perceive him, which creates a healthy level of performance anxiety. Far from being a sign of weakness, this slight awkwardness proves that you hold immense sway over his emotions, completely stripping away his usual nonchalant composure. The sincere hero complex. A man who loves you will naturally want to shield you from the harshness, stress, and logistical headaches of everyday life. Whenever you face a difficult challenge, whether it is a demanding project at work, a stressful family situation, or a complicated travel itinerary, he will step forward as a dedicated ally. He will actively listen to your frustrations, offer grounded logic to help calm your anxiety, and step in to shoulder the physical or mental burdens whenever possible. This protective drive goes far beyond basic politeness. It is a genuine manifestation of his desire to be your ultimate safe harbor. He finds deep personal fulfillment in knowing that he can make your life easier and less chaotic. By consistently showing up as your reliable teammate during tough times, he is proving through steady action that you can always depend on him to catch you. Consistent workspace life integration. When a man is genuinely falling for you, he will subconsciously begin modifying his personal environment to welcome you into it. You will notice him carving out dedicated physical and mental space for you within his daily routine and surroundings. If you visit his apartment or workspace, he might clear a specific spot for your belongings, stock his fridge with your favorite drinks, or proudly display a small item you gave him. On a digital level, he might keep your chat pinned to the top of his messaging apps or share a personalized playlist he created with you in mind. By integrating your presence into his private sanctuary, he is breaking down his personal boundaries and signaling that he views you as a permanent fixture in his life. Rather than a temporary guest, it is a quiet, structural welcome into his world. Emotional vulnerability drops. Men are traditionally conditioned to keep their guards up, hiding their doubts, fears, and past failures from the outside world. However, when a man is secretly in love, his emotional armor begins to crack in your presence through deliberate, vulnerable disclosures. He will start sharing intimate stories from his childhood, his deepest career anxieties, or personal lessons learned from past heartbreaks. These conversations often happen late at night or during quiet moments when the noise of the world fades away. By granting you access to the private, unpolished corners of his mind, he is placing an immense amount of trust in you. He no longer feels the need to maintain a flawless, hyper-masculine facade because he feels entirely safe in your hands. This emotional unmasking is a profound milestone, signaling that he views you as his ultimate confidant and a permanent anchor for his heart. The vulnerable posture. Even if a man manages to control his verbal responses, his body language will always speak the absolute truth about his internal emotional state. When you are around, his posture will naturally shift into a completely open, non-defensive position. You will notice that his hands remain out of his pockets, his arms stay uncrossed, and his torso is fully exposed and oriented in your direction. In the language of behavioral psychology, shielding the chest or crossing the arms is a subconscious defense mechanism designed to protect vital organs from threat. By intentionally dropping these physical barriers, his subconscious mind is loudly proclaiming that he feels entirely secure, comfortable, and receptive to you. He is choosing to lay down his defenses, inviting you into his personal space, and signaling an organic readiness to connect with you on a deeply intimate, emotional level. Subtle forward planning, one of the most definitive indicators of a man's secret. Devotion is how effortlessly he weaves you into his future timeline. During casual conversations, he will drop subtle hints about events happening months down the line, such as a concert in the fall, a new restaurant opening next season, or a holiday getaway, and seamlessly assume that you will be right there by his side. Instead of using non-committal phrases like "I might go to that," he will naturally use inclusive language like "we should check that out." This mental projection happens because he literally cannot picture his upcoming life without your presence in it. He is not trying to trap you or rush the relationship. Rather, his brain has already integrated you into his long-term reality. By anchoring you to his future goals, he is quietly demonstrating his desire for stability and permanence with you. The protective check-in, a man who holds deep, secret feelings for you will maintain a constant undercurrent of concern for your daily well-being, even when you are physically apart. This manifests as the consistent, thoughtful check-in message that requires no grand excuse to send. You will receive a text ensuring you made it home safely after a late night out, or a gentle reminder to take a lunch break during a notoriously stressful workday. These micro-communications are not driven by a need for control or constant surveillance. Instead, they are organic eruptions of his affection. When a man is in love, your safety, health, and comfort remain at the absolute forefront of his mind. Even when he is completely buried in his own responsibilities, he will always take a brief moment to reach across the digital divide, ensuring that his care and protection follow you wherever you go. The unfiltered smile. The ultimate confirmation of a man's hidden love can be captured in the raw, involuntary facial expressions that occur the exact moment he looks at you. When you unexpectedly catch his eye across a crowded room, or when you first meet up after days apart, his face will instantly light up with a genuine, unfiltered smile. This is known as a Duchenne smile, a true expression of joy that causes the corners of the mouth to turn up and the skin around, the eyes to crinkle into deep laugh lines. This physiological reaction is entirely subconscious and impossible to replicate on command. It represents a pure, unadulterated rush of dopamine, hitting his system simply because you exist in his line of sight. If his face consistently breaks into this radiant, joyful expression every single time you lock eyes, his secret is completely out.